Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Murph Strange, and today we are starting a new game. Today we are playing Metroid 4, Metroid Fusion, for the Game Boy Advance. In case you're new to the channel, what we are doing is a full franchise playthrough of the Metroid series. Previously, we have played through the original Metroid, Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, Metroid 3 on Super Nintendo, as well as Metroid Other M, and on Thursdays, we are currently making our way through Metroid Prime. It's Monday, and today we start our journey through Metroid Fusion. Now, this game was originally not even planned to happen. Super Metroid was going to be the end of it. There wasn't going to be any more. Samus's story had been told. But Nintendo decided, you know what? It's time for another Metroid. So they passed their IP off to Retro Studios to develop a 3D first-person exploration game. Now, one of the original creators of the Metroid franchise, not wanting to be cut out of the process, not wanting to be left out of the creative loop that was going to be the storytellers of, Samus's furthering adventures, decided, well, you know what? We'll make another chapter. We'll add another one. And so began the development on Metroid Fusion. This one's not really much of a departure from the rest of the franchise as we know it, except Samus has a new look. Back to SR-388. Where we wiped out the Metroids in Metroid 2. So, new suit as a result of being attacked by the X-Parasite, from which we were saved by a vaccine made from a culture of Metroid cells, which, well, one, that's not really how, vaccines work, but sure. So we have a new suit. We also have a new ship. This is not Samus's normal ship. I don't know, looks kind of nice. We have a short jog to get to our target, but as you can see, the map is rather large. Starting off with the normal 99 energy, so we're quite fragile. We have no charge beam, no double jump, no space jump. We can wall jump though. We have no morph ball. No missiles. We can grab ledges. We're unable to pass through any of these doors just yet. We're basically, on rails right now. They're not giving us a lot of options as to where to go. It does happen quite a bit in this game. It's not as free exploration as previous Metroid titles. We'll often find ourselves limited to certain areas. It's very linear in a lot of aspects. It's not to say there isn't some open exploration, but those moments will come and go, you know? Also, this is supposedly one of the smaller Metroid games. I don't know about that. I mean, the first two were pretty small by comparison, I think. I mean, it's certainly smaller than Super Metroid. Well, maybe. We have no slide move. That slide move, didn't show up for, at least 2 more games. Door's locked. Also, that's a new aspect of the game. When we kill an enemy, an X-Parasite will likely fly out of it. And when that happens, we can absorb it, because now, one of the traits that we've been given thanks to the Metroid vaccine, we can absorb X-Parasites. And that's generally how we'll refill our health and our weapons. The vast majority of the time, anyway. We'll run into recharge stations, and we can always go back to the ship when the ship's available to us. And we're locked in here again. Again, this is not how vaccines work. Okay? Just putting that out there. Is it just me, or does that seem just super loud today? Y'all have to let me know if that's too loud. Anyway. Yeah, it's also about the first thing we're going to fail at, because obviously. Okay, so we can't go back the way we came. I mean, there's only a little bit left to explore that way anyway. Now, the music here is designed to build up the tension a lot more so than in previous titles. And there's going to be a lot of that. This is supposed to be one of the darker entries. We don't have the ability to get through there yet. If any of you have played Dread, you know, that heightened tension that they really laid on heavy in that game. This is where that starts. Apparently we're able to download weapon data now. Use missiles. But first we have to get to the download center. The data terminal. Ooh, 20%. That's double our ability to survive currently. Don't want to go through there yet. 'Cause that's the way to the... It's the way to the boss fight. It's an elevator. We, of course, remember Adam from Metroid Other M. Probably one of the more annoying plot elements ever devised for the franchise was not being able to use our weapons until he authorized the various weapons, including our Varia suit, allowing us to, you know, not die so quickly. I mean, sure, the localization made a mess of things, but like there are still some elements of that, even in the original Japanese translation, that do not sit well, and for very good reason. It undermines Samus's entire character. Thankfully, though, Adam is dead. And now we just answer to a computer that she's named after him. That's clearly something. It's gonna be a recharge room. Not that we needed it. Save room. We're gonna run into a lot of save stations. I don't feel like they're as clustered, as generous with the save stations as Dread was, or will be when we get to it. Sure, sure. We now have missiles. Of course it has. It'll be the green ones that recharge our missiles. The yellow ones give us energy. I mean, we only have 10. I'm going to hesitate to use them a little bit. Later when I have like 200 of them, maybe not so much, but until then, yeah, we're gonna take that easy. G. Wonder what the intention here is. Sure, not a lot's happened since our last save, but we also don't have the convenience of setting suspend points this time around. If I was using an emulator, sure, but no, we're just playing on an actual cartridge. Alright, we've already got 2 upgrades for our missiles. That's nice. Convenient, too. I'm glad they let us have a map in this one. Energy tank. That's a nice little upgrade. Morph ball ability recovered. Now we're talking. We still don't have morph ball bombs, though. Now you may have noticed the marquees are not there today. That's because I wasn't sure what to fill them up with. And when we're playing these Gameboy games, they tend to fill up the screen. I thought we'd be better off just leaving the screen blank for now. I mean, I still have the death counter on there. Still have my wonderful face down in the corner. Still have the chat on screen, too. Well, look at that. Preventing the X parasites from getting to the breeding environments at all costs has already failed. Honestly, nuke it from orbit. That's what we should do. This is a space station, after all. Oh, geez. They simulated SR-388. Alright, we can't go back that way. Not that I think we would want to. Certainly don't need to. That guy ducked under my attack, though. Did you see that? Now. I'm gonna hope that, I don't have to update the death count today. But I'm not gonna lie. This is a Metroid game. I'm almost sure I'm gonna have to upgrade or update the kill count, or the death count a couple of times before we're done. Yeah, that's a no. That's a no from me. We don't want to go in there. It's a Metroid game. Every time a hallway ends, you should shoot the wall. Oh, snap. Well, that's hardly convenient. Hey, check it out. We can go down to 2 first. Probably not going to want to spend a lot of time down here. In fact, yeah, Adam's going to tell us we're in the wrong section, I bet. He ain't even gonna let us. He ain't gonna let us play in the tropical region. So yeah, we have a doppelganger on the space station with us, wearing our old suit. And it will be a recurring plot point throughout the game. Some unknown agent is at work. Awfully bossy for an operating system. Now, that is one of the nice parts about this game. Every one of these regions will have a save station and recharge station right at the beginning. And as you can see, the territories you have to explore, they're not super huge. And they are littered with, you know, save stations throughout. But if we ever find ourselves in trouble, making our way to the beginning again, it's not a bad idea. energy tank. And that came at a proper time. Do this one first. Just gonna have to get used to there being parasites just all over the darn place. This is kind of how this will go. Hey Ube, welcome to the chat. I'm doing quite well. We are only about 45 minutes in. Hey, Knitting Link. We have started Metroid Fusion. Do I want to go this way? I don't remember. Oh, pirates. Alright, we definitely don't want to go into the lava yet. That would not be fun. Okay, let's see here. What have I been up to since last we spoke? Well, not a whole lot. Spent the weekend pretty much just hanging out with the boy. I got some new video cameras. Beyond that, not a whole lot's changed here. But the video cameras I'm kind of excited about because I'm hoping, in addition to little photo studio setup that I have going on here in the corner of my office, I'm hoping to do like a video production a little bit. So at some point, I may actually start appearing on your screens. But, you know, that was always going to be the case if I was ever going to produce a magic show of any kind. I was going to have to be on camera. I also picked up a new video game. The Steelbook edition of Beyond a Steel Sky. If you've ever heard of Beneath a Steel Sky, it was a PC point-and-click adventure game that, you know, became kind of a cult classic back in, you know, 1994. I mean, it's fairly old. The one thing nobody expected was that there was going to be a sequel ever, because, I mean, the thing came out in 1994 and nobody's really talked about it since. Well, it got a sequel 2 years ago? Maybe 3 years ago? And I've been wanting to pick it up for a while. Just because I played that game. I played the original. I didn't play the whole thing, I didn't beat it, but I do remember I enjoyed it. It didn't run the greatest on my computer, which is why I never beat the game. But what? Charge beam. But Beneath the Steel Sky was a very interesting title. It had a very comic book style. And the premise of the game is, you know, you play this dude from a very bleak, futuristic setting. Takes place in Australia. The Outback is referred to as the Gap. and I think it's supposed to be after, like, some nuclear war or something has wiped out most of the life on the planet. And, humans are left to, you know, populate a few cities and, you know, form a couple of tribes in the Australian outback. And you play as Robert Foster, an orphan who was found by one of the Gaplander tribes. And raised to be, you know, very, very tech savvy, very proficient. Is the game still loud? See, I was kind of wondering about that, because it seems kind of loud on my end, too. But, like, I had it at where it was at before, so I don't know what's going on with that. Let's try taking it down to... Take it down there. Hopefully that's better. I mean, it should be a little quieter. Hopefully quiet enough that it's not super annoying. But, it's a very cyberpunkish, sort of title. And throughout the game, you have this, this robotic companion. Have to speak between my shots. You know, that just might be, There we go. Ah! I made it. This is gonna be tough. I'm not great at the wall jumping. Even worse with the stick. Ugh. Anyway, so very cyberpunkish game. Never expected a sequel. But apparently they released a sequel, and it's kind of fun. Although, I gotta say, the people who review stuff, yeah, jumping in Metroid is definitely its own kind of beast. Oh, there we go. Did it. Yeah. Normally, I just skip this one because getting it is such a pain in the butt. Like, I'll come back here later with Space Jump and do that. And even then, it's a pain in the butt to try to get. But, no, we got it. We got it this time. Alright, looks like we gotta go back over there. No, that's that lava room. We don't want to go back there. I'm pretty sure we're done here. So yeah. I also picked up the original Voltron. My son and I have started watching that. I'm probably more into that than he is, to be quite honest. I mean, he doesn't mind that, you know, it's cartoon adventure with giant robots and stuff, so he tolerates it, but like he's seen the new one on Netflix, so he's probably like, why does this look so old? But I've been a huge Voltron fan since I was like, you know, 5. It's been ages since I've watched the original. Oh, now he wants us to go to Sector 2. Dude's already yelling at us to put an end to it. We've just started, sir. Calm down. We got a long way to go before we're anywhere near putting an end to this, so just cool your jets there, Robotic Adam. And yes, the computer is named after that dude Adam from Other M, who was kind of annoying. And don't worry, there won't be too many of those, or too much of that, you know, weird nonsense like what we got with, Other M. But if you've seen Metroid Dread at all, the giant computer orb that talks to you, that's Adam. He's in this game as well. Not Adam as in the guy from Other M, but the computer that was named after that guy. I mean, they probably should have come up with a better name than SAX. But, you know, maybe Dark Adam or Dark Samus or, you know, Samus X. Zamus. So yeah, there's an evil Samus running around that is basically like a full-powered us from Metroid 3, Super Metroid. And it will wreck us. It will absolutely wreck us. I've no doubt we're probably going to die to it several times. Also, this computer has a very annoying habit of constantly telling us that we suck. We're vulnerable to an ice beam. And of course, the SAX is armed with the ice beam. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Why would we expect anything different? Bomb data, though. We could use that. I mean, it's not the power bombs that the SAX is apparently using to free the parasites. Ah, yes. Coffee. I don't drink coffee, but, I have encountered people who definitely need it and have not had it. It's best to get your coffee. So, we have to unlock the level 1 security doors. But they don't tell us where it's at. Because safety protocols. Wouldn't want any of these creatures to read a map and find how they can unlock doors. Because clearly that's a thing. Even though we're going to go find those doors and unlock them. Sometimes, the logic doesn't make sense. Well, that didn't do much. Recharge. Okay. Nope. There's no way to get over that, as far as I can tell, just yet. We'll have to come back to that part. Alright. No getting through there till we find the door switch. Well, they didn't hide the room very well. Alright, clearly that's a room that we'll be able to blast something. Probably gonna need a Morph Ball bomb or something in there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys get these commercials, but here in the United States on, like, DVDs and stuff, they have, like, you wouldn't download a car. And it's like, if I could download a car, you bet I would. You absolutely bet I would. But they're the anti-piracy commercials. Here we just downloaded bombs. You better believe we would download whatever we could possibly download. If it was available, we would download it. Right? It's like, don't pretend like you know me. Don't pretend like you know my life. Tell me I wouldn't download a car. I definitely would download a car. Okay. We gotta go this way now. Exactly. You'd make a copy of it. And then you would download it. Why? Because we can. Huh. I'm not sure which one of these we want to go down. Alright, no secret there. The Morph Ball bounce really isn't Well, it's not a question of would we. We already did. I mean, Samus just downloaded a bomb. The Morph Ball bomb. And as for would I, like me personally, no, but blueprints for bombs or how to make them, I technically kind of already have. Like, I own books on how to make improvised weapons and stuff, and some of them, yeah, they're explosives. Like, it's a thing. Obviously, research purposes only. I'm not looking to blow anything up. At least, not intentionally. And if I do blow anything up, it's basically just backyard pyrotechnics. Not going to assault any persons or property that is not my own. Yeah, the Anarchist Cookbook is kind of fun. That one was very widely available during my youth. And I'm pretty sure I downloaded that on a dial-up modem. Now, not all of the information in there is very accurate or complete, but some of that stuff would cause some trouble. I mean, now you could buy the thing from the Kindle bookstore, but there was a good long while there where everybody was like, "Oh, if you download this, you're gonna end up on a government watch list or something." Honestly, nobody cared. Like, the amount of trouble and stuff I have looked up on the internet. If I ever try to fly someplace and find out that I'm not able to do so, I'm basically gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Made some kind of silver gunpowder from that book, huh? Did it actually explode, though? Like, did it work? Because that's the thing. Some of that stuff, it didn't work, like, at all. Some of it worked pretty well. Did it. Nice. Didn't even pack it. Nice. Now see, the silly part way back in those early 90s. We thought something like that ought to be illegal, you know, to be able to just download it off of the internet, you know, instructions for making, you know, gunpowder and crap. Turns out, no. Oh, we died. We knew it was bound to happen at some point. But I don't think I have saved since, yeah, no, we didn't save from the thing. He kept the blast powder in a jar above his bed. You know, how we all ended up surviving childhood is a total mystery. I'll never figure it out. We got away with some stupid stuff, that's for sure. Early teens were a fun time. They really were. What's really terrifying is when you grow up and find out all of the things that ought to be illegal that aren't. Like most of the stuff in the Anarchist Cookbook. Like, all of that, 100% legal. You can make explosives. You can blow stuff up in your own backyard. You can be as reckless and dumb as you want. Until you take it outside the confines of, your own controlled property. And it poses a threat to somebody else. You are 100% able to just do whatever you want. Which, in a way, is kind of terrifying, because, like, you pose a danger to society long before that. Long before you've left your own yard. You know, the possibility. Yeah, it might be illegal in other parts of the country, and in other parts of the world, and rightfully so. But here in the United States, in a lot of places, it's totally legal to own basically a machine gun and walk around wherever you want with it, and nobody can say a thing to you about it. It isn't wise, because you will make a lot of people very uncomfortable. Rightfully so. And it's the sort of behavior only crazy people do. But yeah, the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing was this 16-year-old kid was gifted an AR-15 from a family friend. He was not able to buy this thing himself legally, but he was gifted it by a family friend, which somehow that's legal? Shrug. And he crossed state lines to go hang out at a protest with the excuse that he was going to help keep the peace. This 16-year-old kid with an assault rifle. Now, he's not keeping the peace in his own backyard. He's crossed state lines to do this. His parents drove him. With an AR-15, mind you. Like, it wasn't like they didn't know he had this. Everyone was aware what he was doing. And while he was a member of some, like, you know, junior police force type of clubs, like, he didn't actually have real training. Like, no real military police kind of training, because he's a 16-year-old kid. Of course he's not going to have any of that. But this kid goes to this protest because some dudes on this message board that he was active on decided that they needed to go and keep the peace, make sure this protest stayed peaceful. What's the best way to keep a protest peaceful? Show up with guns! Or at least that's their logic. I'm not quite sure how that works. So you got this 16-year-old kid from out of town marching up and down the street, waving his AR-15. And I don't know if he provoked the individuals, or if just the fact that he's a dumb 16-year-old kid with an AR-15 trying to police a bunch of people he doesn't know was enough to be considered provocation. But he got into an altercation with some of the protesters. This altercation resulted in him shooting and killing 2 of them. Now, he did go to trial. There was no, like, police standoff or anything to get him to surrender or anything like that. They just showed up and, you know, he went to court. He was found not guilty, which still astounds me to this day, although I gotta say, I'm not completely surprised because... Oh, dang it. Because the judge, before the trial even began, he said that during the course of the trial, they were not allowed to refer to the murdered protesters as victims. Because he felt that that was, you know, categorizing, you know, what they did as being right and proper and fine. You know, villainizing this young teenage boy who was a hero. Yeah, this is the judge, before the trial has even started, already showing that he is very much partial to letting this kid walk. Absolutely a travesty of justice. A lot of stupid led up to this situation, and nobody ended up being held accountable for it. And the people who support this kid, because there's an entire political party now that's like, yeah, he's a hero. He's a hero for what? Marching up and down the street with a machine gun to defend somebody's, you know, friggin', I don't know, Target, TJ Maxx, Walmart, from what should have been a peaceful protest that, even if it had gotten out of hand, like, if these people hadn't shown up with guns, it would not have been nearly as bad. But they showed up with guns. To, and I quote, keep the peace. They did a great job when they murdered 2 people. Peacekeeping at its finest, folks. But yeah, the things that are legal in this country. And if you're rendered speechless by this, you're not alone. Unfortunately, in my country, we can't even get to a point where we're having a conversation about addressing some of this without an entire group of people losing their absolute minds over the Second Amendment and our right to bear arms. Problem is, that's the only part of that amendment that they know. They completely ignore the rest of it. Which is, you're allowed the right to bear arms, you know, for, you know, the formation of a well-regulated militia. And the reason why our founding fathers did this was because back in the early days, we didn't have a military, really, to speak of. I mean, we had a few farmers with muskets. And, you know, if we were going to stand a chance against a foreign adversary in those early days, those guys would have to come together for our national defense. This is no longer the case. We are now a world superpower. And this whole freedom to bear arms thing is resulting in record school shootings, record deaths, record gun violence. So much so, it is absolutely ridiculous. Oh hey, Saber. We can stop dying and having to restart that whole thing. Oh, and I forgot to upgrade that, or update that, because we died twice. So, my stance on this whole thing is, sure, we should be allowed to own guns, because hunting is still a thing, you know, and not everybody who owns a gun is an absolute crazy person. But there ought to be some rules regarding some of the crazy we are allowing people to get away with. Like a 16-year-old with no peacekeeping training of any kind, no law enforcement, you know, to speak of, should not be allowed to just march up and down the street in a town he doesn't even live in. And cause cause trouble that ends up with him having to shoot people, because I'm pretty sure just the act of marching up and down some strange street where he's not a known individual to reside there would be provocation enough in any other circumstance. To have someone confront him and be like, hey, are you supposed to be here? Should you really be doing that? Get out of here. You're an armed crazy person marching up and down my neighborhood. Like, I wouldn't stand for it. So yeah, there would probably have been some kind of incident at some point, eventually. And yeah, most of the people who, you know, get all, you know, bent out of shape over the Second Amendment, it is really obvious they didn't understand it. It's almost guaranteed that they've never read the original text and are basically just going off of the whole, well, this is what my Facebook group says. Oh no, they're definitely ignoring a large chunk of its intended purpose. Absolutely. They feel it's open to interpretation. Specifically, their interpretation. But, once upon a time, in this country, we did have rules against this sort of thing. There was a time where owning a gun like the AR-15 would have come with a lot more rules. They dialed it back, though. They dialed the regulations back, and it's unfortunate because they seem to have forgotten why those rules were in place in the first place. Because way back when, early 90s, there was a school shooting that was absolutely terrible. One of the worst events, one of the worst, or most tragic things. A couple of kids shot up their school, planted pipe bombs, killed a lot of people. At that time, we did something. However, those regulations got dialed back quietly, and now we're back to a state of, well, we can't really talk about it without infringing on the Second Amendment, even though that's not at all how that works. And that's how we get here. When was Columbine? 90s. I believe it was 97? It was while I was still in high school, I know that. Actually, no, that is the one I was referring to. It might have been 94. But I think it was 97, now that I think about it. But for a very brief while, we got some regulation regarding what was publicly available. I mean, it didn't take away all guns, obviously, because that was never anyone's agenda. Despite, you know, the Republicans in this country constantly trying to claim that that's all the Democrats want, is to take away your guns. That's never been their platform. Yeah, that's because the kids apparently listen to his music. But they've been trying to do that kind of nonsense forever. They also tried to blame the video games because apparently those kids, you know, they listen to Marilyn Manson, but they also play Doom. And in fact, they modded their Doom game to be able to play a level that was designed to look like, you know, the enemies were designed to look like, you know, their classmates. Because back in those days, you could reskin the sprites. You could change out the files for whatever you wanted. And they swapped out the files with edited pictures. I mean, they were poorly edited. It was Doom, after all. But, yeah. So they tried to blame video games for it. I mean, they honestly did everything they possibly could to blame everything except the easy access to weaponry. Because that's what they always do. Oh no, those kids were definitely not right in the head. But that's only one of the factors that led to the issue. Because, well, oh. I forget how very finicky it is to line up the shots on this one. Nope. Well, of course they're gonna try to blame pop culture as much as possible because it's an easy out. Depends on which one you're talking about. Are we talking about the one that happened like a while ago, or is this recent? Because if I remember right, there was one that happened a while ago. I am so dead. I'm trying to think if the incident I'm remembering, or the one that I'm thinking of, is the one you're referring to. But even that might be a different one. Like 15 years ago? Did it happen on an island? Yeah. Pretty sure that's the same one that I'm thinking of then. That often gets used as a case study here. For people trying to make the argument as to why we really do need gun control laws. Because, from what I understand, after that incident, they enacted a bunch of gun control laws. Because, surprise, surprise, they're not crazy. And that was like the last mass shooter event of its kind, really to speak of, since those laws went into effect, if I remember right. Like, I might be a little off on my statistics, but they have nowhere near the numbers that we're putting up here in the States. and they credit directly Oh, I'm pretty sure that dude thought it was wrong, and the people around it thought it was wrong. But, like, I'm pretty sure that dude also felt justified for whatever reason. Like, for whatever reason, he thought that that was the only way he would get the resolution he was looking for whatever it was. And, it's tragic. It's certainly not the kind of outcome anyone hopes for. But when a situation like that happens, like, we have to understand, as a society, there are things we can do to prevent another one. Now, I'm not stupid. I don't think that, you know, banning all guns would actually get rid of all the guns, because there's plenty of guns in existence. But you would certainly find people being a lot more careful if there were a few more laws in place. Things that would result in them seeing the inside of a prison cell if they're not careful who they sell a gun to. Or, you know, aren't doing their due diligence to ensure that they've not made their brand new assault rifle available to someone with a history of violence. Yeah, it was not a low death toll, that's for sure. Now, if I remember, one of the details of that incident was, he even lured them out by posing as a police officer there responding to a shooter. Heading out, Knitting Link? Well, no problem. You're not really going to miss much. If I actually defeat this guy, I'm probably going to be calling it, shortly after myself, because it's going to be lunchtime soon. Trying not to die here. I have very little health left. And the worst part is, after the boss fight, you have to kill the parasite core. Which means I have to have a little health left. I'm only going to have a little bit of health left, too. Oh, the core got me. And I only needed to hit it like one more time, too. That's the worst part. Alright. Oh, right, that's... I need a power bomb to go up. And I keep forgetting to do that. There we go. So yeah. The things that are inexplicably still legal astound me. Oh, got caught. Oh, I missed. Dang it. I'm not doing great this time around either. Shoot. You really got to be precise with the shots on this one. And that didn't help. Nope, we're dead. Okay, there we go. It's weird. In this country, something like that can happen. And everybody's just like, oh, thoughts and prayers, there's nothing we could do, it's a tragedy. Every other part of the world, they're like, yeah, you know, there's something we could do. We can pass some legislation. Make access to, you know, guns a little bit more sane. And not just a free-for-all. But, no, that doesn't happen here. And I find that worrying. Like, how do politicians even keep their job these days, you know? Alright, we're off to a good start this time. We might stand a chance. Oh. Spoke too soon. There we go. We did it. Ooh. High jump and jump ball abilities recovered. We can jump. We can jump really high. Yeah, this is one of the few games where doing the morph ball bomb hop isn't necessary for most things. I mean, you don't see it in this one. But it did kind of make some of the earlier games easy to get around some of those it made sequence breaking easier when that was a thing. Huh. Uh-oh. I don't want to go that way. I would run for Congress if I thought I stood a chance. Problem is, for me to get anywhere near elected, a couple things would have to happen. One, I would have to have a lot more money than what I've got. And that's just a fact. If you don't have money, you don't really win elections. And that's not to say that, you know, politicians buy their election results, but they pay for things like advertising and stuff. Campaign ads and whatnot. If you ain't got money for that, nobody's gonna hear about you. And if they never hear about you, well, you're probably not getting elected. No matter how many good ideas you got. But it has always bothered me that this country has a two-party system. Only two political parties. So by the time Election Day rolls around, you have two options. And that's it. Usually. And occasionally you get the random guy who's running as an independent, but because he doesn't have the support of one of the two major political parties, they don't stand much of a chance. Which is unfortunate. But with the two-party system, you end up voting for basically the least stupid of two stupids. Because in my country, while the Democratic Party would like to do things like pass sane gun control laws and, you know, allow for a lot more civil liberties for marginalized groups, they also have a tendency to fail a lot of the time. When it comes to leadership, like they're not generally very strong in their leadership. And it's unfortunate because it hurts them a lot. And even when they are in charge, they have a tendency to get walked all over. Like, they're not even trying some of these times, it seems like. Oftentimes too willing to appease a minority group. And not, like, minority as in ethnic minority, but, like, you know, the least voters. And it ends up resulting in stuff like the agenda that got them elected never sees the light of day. They never actually accomplish anything while in office. I mean, I guess it's not entirely fair to say they never accomplish anything in office, because they sometimes get stuff done. Not much, though. Not as much as we'd like to see them get done, that's for sure. And sometimes the stuff we do see them get done is actually not great. It ends up backfiring. And also, because it's them or the other guys, they have to make really stupid choices like, you know, appealing to the most voters for their, you know, their base. So they'll put up candidates that aren't in favor of all of the things that everybody wishes that they would be in favor of. and candidates that would do a better job get passed over because the party doesn't feel like they would get as many or as much support. And the support that they're getting for the better candidate is going to go with the less better candidate. If it means, you know, the only other option is the other guy's candidate. And that's not a great way to run your political party. Hey, you have a great time too. We will see you next time. We'll be back to playing Metroid Prime on Thursday. We are doing, hopefully a podcast tomorrow. And Wednesday, JavaScript. We're going to be talking about sprites and user controls and all that fun stuff. Hopefully. Assuming everything goes according to plan and everybody's able to do the things that they want to do. So, we'll see you then. You guys have a wonderful day. I am just about done here. What's in here? Oh, hey, can I do the thing here now? I can jump over. That's good. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I hope I'm feeling up to it. There has been, colds working their way around the area. My kid was out all last week with one. I never got it, but doesn't mean I won't. I'm hoping I avoid it. Because I want to get another podcast episode out of the way and get to that JavaScript stuff. Because I've been looking forward to getting through that stuff. Because once we're through that stuff, we can start working on our game development. I think. Because we've talked about Ajax, we've talked about most everything we need to know. We talked about sound, how to do sound effects and stuff. Yeah, the only thing we have left to work on is controls and sprites. And then we'll be able to make some simple JavaScript games. Releasing the security lock may have been a bad idea. Well, you're the one that told me to do it, dude. And now we have to go save Sector 4. Yes, my objective's clear. So we want to go that way. Or at least, we're supposed to want to go that way. But... yeah, there's no power to the elevator, so we can't go up yet. We can go to Sector 3. I don't know that we would get much done here in Sector 3, though, because if I remember right, this place would require the Varia suit. Let's save so if we end up dying just past this door. Already fully charged. Oh, no, we're not gonna die right away. That's good. Okay, we don't want to be in there. That will kill us. Okay, we need speed boost to get through there. Wave beam or some way to get through the other side there. That's a green door. We haven't unlocked that yet. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything really we can get in here yet. Everything is blocked off. Yeah, if I got elected to Congress, not that I would want to. I'd probably try to pass some decent, common sense kind of stuff that just really should see the light of day, though, despite a lot of people making promises to try to make it happen. Never seems to, you know? Like getting this country universal health care. I don't know why we're so afraid of the idea here in this country, but it works elsewhere. Works pretty well. It may not be a perfect solution, but we don't need a perfect solution, we need a better solution than what we currently have. That's the threshold. Just needs to be better than what we currently are working with. Oh, this is not good. Alright then. We're not going that way. Like, I'd still allow people to own guns, but you better be able to pass a background check. And, there will be licensing. Like, you need to pass a test. I mean, if you gotta pass a test to get a driver's license, be able to drive a car, damn well better believe you should have to pass a test to own an assault rifle, that's for sure. I know there's some people who really don't like the sound of those ideas because, oh, you're just gonna take away my guns. Are you telling me you can't pass a test to prove you're a safe gun owner? Is that what you're trying to say? Because if that's what you're trying to say, maybe you should really look into that. Into why you don't believe that you're safe to own a gun. Because if you're safe to own a gun, you'd have no problem getting a license. Or you should have no problem. And you might be thinking, well, that's just not how it works in this country. No, but it should. It really should. Okay? And if there are severe penalties for a gun you own being involved in any kind of crime, in addition to the crime itself, I think people take their gun ownership a little more seriously. Behave a little more responsibly. Now, none of this is intended to take guns away from responsible gun owners. Just to ensure that we're being safe with the ones we have. You know? Also, stronger civil liberty protections. A political party should not be allowed to strip rights away that have been fought for years and years and years. Just by passing a bill. Right? Because we're seeing politicians now who are like, oh, you know, mixed race marriage shouldn't be allowed. Are you kidding me? You know how long that's been a thing? As a society, we've just kind of moved on from that issue, and it hasn't been a problem. But now all of a sudden somebody wants to take that away from people? You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. And gay marriage. Like, that's been a thing for a hot minute. That's allowed. guess what? World didn't come to an end. Terrible things have not resulted as you know, a result of allowing it. So it should not be threatened. And yet, in this country, here we are. And transgender rights. Why is that now all of a sudden a thing that they have to fight for all over again? How are people able to proclaim that to be unnatural and, you know, mutilation? I thought we had reached a point in this country where we were okay with letting people make those decisions for themselves. But no, not anymore. It's genuinely dumb we keep going backwards in this country. If you don't like it, why don't you leave? I honestly would, if I could. Because it's a little embarrassing. Now, all I'm able to pull off is, try to slow the backslide as much as I can by making sure my vote isn't wasted. And let me tell you, that's not always easy. Not in this political climate. And we got people who run as Democrats, and then, once they're in office, they only support Republican policies unless they're getting paid for it. Like, you have to buy their support again for the thing you voted for them for. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. It definitely should not be the case. And there are things that take place in this country that are not limited to one political party or another that really need to be addressed. Like, members of Congress being able to buy stock. I mean, we should really re-examine that. After all, they can use the knowledge they have, being lawmakers, as to the likelihood of some legislation getting passed that may greatly affect the stock they own. That gives them an advantage. And the stock market is very much a competition. And that's why insider trading is a thing that we don't let happen. Or at least we're not supposed to. Yeah, I'm not gonna get back up there. I'm just making sure we've picked up all the upgrades and whatnot we can find and have easy access to. I mean, I'm probably missing some. I do have a guide. I'm using the Prima official player's strategy guide. Same one that I'm using for Prime, but I'm referring to it sparingly. And climate change. Why is this still a thing we have to debate? I mean, we've known it's a thing since before the 70s even. It's been proven time and time again to be an issue that really needs to be addressed. Why isn't it a thing we can do anything about? Sure seems like it should be, by now. The fact that it isn't makes me wonder why our elected officials still have jobs. Yeah, well. I do have hope for the future that we're going to start seeing better representation in government on both political parties. Because I do feel like on the right, they're getting a little fed up with being represented by the loudest and least stable. And getting absolutely no results from that. Because that's been a thing for a while now. I mean, they had Trump for 4 years. Loud and unstable. And the Republican Party right now is full of these fringe characters that are loud, but also unstable. And a lot of the stuff they say is just completely nuts. And I'm pretty sure there are members of that political party, or people who identify as, you know, members of that political party, who are embarrassed by some of the behavior they're seeing. Maybe not the policy stances, but the behavior for sure. And if not, well, they really should be, because it's embarrassing It is really embarrassing. And on the left, on the Democrat side of things, I mean, it sure does feel like blatant crimes have gone completely ignored, unaddressed, and it's feeling like certain people do seem to be above the law, even though it's a thing that we've been shouting at the top of our lungs forever that nobody should be. But they gotta step up. The leadership sometimes does uh, feel like it don't care. So, hopefully we see a regime change as far as, like, the people representing these two groups. Or the rise of a third group. I mean, I'm always seeing these think pieces on why people are abandoning the Democrat and Republican parties in droves, but it doesn't ever seem like that's actually what's really happening. If it was, where's the third political party these people ought to be coming together to form? To combat both of those ineffective, ridiculous political parties. I'd love to see it. Yes, my objective is clear. Sure, sure. Alright. I do think I am going to call it there, though. Because that's a good place to call it. Oh, gosh. So yeah, coming up the rest of this week, tomorrow, podcast, hopefully. If Zeph is up to it, because tomorrow is hopefully Zeph's episode that she's been working on. That's what I have scheduled to be the next episode, so hopefully she is able to present her findings. If not, we'll push it to the week after or whenever she is ready. But Wednesday, JavaScript session, we're going to go further into our game dev skills toolbox. And we're going to talk about sprites, hopefully. I may have to borrow some from the internet because my sprite making ability sucks. But on the code side of things, I know what we need to do. I just have to have the tools to do it. Ugh. But yeah, So that'll be fun. And we're also going to talk a little bit about uh, using the keyboard and mouse as inputs in our JavaScript code, how we can make that a thing. And make it so that we can fire off various functions at the press of a button, the click of a mouse. Be able to get the position of the mouse when we click or drag something. We may also look at some functions that'll help make life easier as a game developer, like being able to determine the distance between 2 points on the screen. Believe me, that is important. You want to be able to accurately judge the distance between, say, when your character lashes out with a sword, if he's within range for his sword to actually strike the enemy. Otherwise, your game looks silly. Your users, your clients, complain, and they're not having any fun. Nobody's enjoying your work. Um, if we don't get to it with this next session, we'll hopefully get to it with the next one. I'll show you how to do like hit boxes, that kind of thing, where you can actually, while you're debugging stuff, actually draw like a circle or an actual box around where you want to be able to test the parameters of collision. Otherwise, yeah, we'll be back to playing games on Thursday. We'll be playing Metroid Prime again. We'll be back to Metroid Fusion here on Monday. We'll be doing that Mondays, Thursdays, Metroid Prime. Fridays, we're still doing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but because we've done just about everything that there is to do other than like upgrade a few pieces of armor, the only thing we have left is to test glitches and exploits. And this week, I'm hoping we get to figuring out how to do the menu overloading, the inventory menu overload. You might have seen the videos on that. It's where you do the thing with the shock arrows and the bow, and you do it a bunch of times, and then when you go into your inventory, instead of the preview of Link in whatever attire you have equipped, it's just his floating head. And from there, you're able to do all kinds of weird item and weapon duplication. Since we've already beaten everything, I don't feel bad about, duping some weapons and stuff and seeing if we can pull off some of that. Especially since we can get some pretty interesting results. And have a little bit of fun while we're at it, you know? Wind up with a full inventory of, Hylian shields, which are the best in the game. There's also ways to transfer, like, item durability, which is great. I don't know that we're going to get much luck exploring that, because I'm still not sure how all that works. I've been looking into it, but it's like, it seems a little more complicated. But we'll see. So that's what we've got going on this week. A few more sessions of The Legend of Zelda before we start doing random gameplays on Fridays, but it is something we will be doing once we've fully exhausted what we're able to do with Breath of the Wild. I know some of my viewers might be a little disappointed when we do finally move on, but I'm hoping that they'll be as excited as I am to see some of the titles that I'll hopefully be bringing into the rotation on those random play Fridays. I should mention a little bit about what we'll be doing after we finish our Metroid franchise playthrough because we're on 4. There's for this particular storyline, there's only Metroid Dread after that, but I mean, we still have the Metroid Prime series, which we've got a pretty good start on the first one. And there's 2 after that. But when we're done there, I'm probably going to play a couple more Zelda games. What is going on up there? People are home and they're moving furniture around upstairs above my head. So, very odd. Anyway, uh I'm probably going to pick another franchise after taking on a few Zelda games and play a few games from that. I don't know if we'll do another full franchise playthrough again. I might just make that like, you know, every season, essentially. Every year we pick one franchise, try to play through the whole thing. Because taking on the entire Metroid franchise has taught me a couple of things. One, if you play too much of a thing, you will start to dream about it a lot. It gets to be quite interesting. Uh, it's also hard to keep the momentum going, you know? So, like, being able to take breaks from it has helped, and we've done that. But I'm still eager to get to the end of this franchise. And I would like to do franchise playthroughs, but we may have to stagger it a little bit, mix it up a little, maybe find a few shorter franchises to play through first. Metroid's kind of a long one. Kind of a long one. Um, Not the longest, certainly. I mean, could you imagine if we tried to do a Super Mario Brothers franchise playthrough? Like a full Super Mario Brothers? I don't even know how many games we're up to with that one. I don't even know what criteria I would list as entries for that one. However, like there's going to be a Super Mario Brothers franchise run on this channel at some point. I'm a fan of Super Mario Brothers. Uh, Me and my kid both enjoy playing it. It's great. But um, we're going to have to set some parameters on that one because not every Super Mario Brothers title will make it to the channel. It's too many. Because where do you draw the line? Do you play Super Mario Strikers? Super Mario Golf? Super Mario Party? Mario Kart? Like, where do you draw the line? What do you consider, to be at the core of the Mario franchise? So, probably gonna have to tailor that one a little bit. I'm also interested in doing a full franchise playthrough of The Legend of Zelda. We've already got a few of those out of the way, so we're off to a decent start there. But I'm doing that one more sporadically than this Metroid franchise playthrough where it's all of them, you know, one after another with a few breaks here and there. Um, the way we've been doing that, though, does mean, those Zelda fans out there, they've got to wait. They got to wait until we come back around to playing a Zelda title. You know, before we can give them their next fix. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. In addition to that, I'm still hoping at some point to bring other content to the channel. Like, I want to be able to do magic tricks for you all. I've been talking about how I'm a magician a lot on this channel, but have y'all seen me do any tricks? Of course not. Y'all haven't even seen live video of me yet. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to change that in the near future. Maybe. Let's not get carried away. Let's not get our hopes up. I've got a lot of practice to do. I had to take a step back from being able to do as much practice with that as I was doing before because my carpal tunnel got really bad. And it's really hard to manipulate cards when you can't feel your fingers. So, my arms are feeling much better. That's a recent development. I'm able to practice now, but it's clear to me that I need a lot more practice before I'm show ready. That's for sure. But I have the equipment now. I have the cameras. I have the lighting. So I'm hoping that that'll be a thing I can work on. Find a way to work that into my schedule, work that onto my channel, so that y'all can be entertained by the, wonderful world of Murph Strange. I have no idea when that's going to be ready, though. So, no official announcement there yet. Just something I'm hoping to get to eventually. We might also start tackling topics beyond video games and coding, you know? As I've said many a times, I'm into spooky stuff. I'm into weird and unexplained things. But I'm also into things like photography. I wouldn't mind doing kind of a, intro to photography kind of stream. Talk about how you can control your, your composition and aperture and exposure and all the various parts of the exposure triangle to get the result you're looking for and that kind of thing. I do wish I was more artistically inclined because despite the fact that I know all of that, I still don't know that my photography is really that good, but it's all on an entirely compositional scale that, where my failings reside, because, I do understand the exposure triangle, I do understand depth of field, I get all that. I know how to control all that. It's just being able to compose art is a completely different thing. So, certainly something I have to practice, and might be a thing that I practice on stream, so y'all can watch that journey, and we can all learn together and explore, where that takes us. So, yeah, there's gonna be plans for other content, hopefully new interesting expanses to the channel, hopefully. Stay tuned. Official announcements will be coming as these things develop. So far, though, there's still weeks, months, potentially, maybe even a year or two off yet. Who knows? We'll have to see how we can progress this stuff, move it along. For now, though, I thank you all for tuning in, joining me on this session and other sessions you may have may have enjoyed. And until next time, you have yourselves a great one.